Hello collectors, and welcome to the first edition of
Figure Fight,
where we put two or more figures against each other head to head to see which one wins. There will be a poll in the description for you to vote in, so everyone can throw in their thoughts. And there should be a card popping up in the right hand corner of the screen explaining the rules of Figure Fight. It'll take you to a video. In this fight, representing Japan, we have the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2001. Standing a little over 6 inches tall, this Godzilla carries an MSRP of around $80 and has plenty of points of articulation and a web exclusive, meaning only one production run. Representing America, we have the NECA Godzilla 2001 at an MSRP of $20. He also has plenty of points of articulation, but also is a general release and has a repaint already confirmed with an accessory. So we're going to take a look at the vanilla figure. Which of these titans is the victor? Let's begin.
Round 1.
Sculpt and paint. Lots of people are arguing about this even to this day, months after release of both figures, nearly even a year in the case of the SH MonsterArts. Side by side in terms of quality, we can see the SH MonsterArts, even though they are minimal, has better paint apps for the head. Sure, the teeth, they could be a bit better, but the eyes have nice details to them, and the jaw, it actually looks correct. The NECA, however, has a thinner, pink jaw, and it looks like he has gills on the side of his head. The arms and the hands on the MonsterArts are generally better too, and they're capable of a neutral GMK Godzilla pose. The NECA just kind of looks like generic arms not meant specifically for this Godzilla. The torso is similar on both figures, but there are differences. The MonsterArts is built like a sumo wrestler, appropriately bulky, while the sculpt details for the NECA are good, but he's just a bit too skinny. The dorsal plates are far more detailed on the MonsterArts in terms of sculpt, no doubt, though the paint application does go to NECA entirely. You can actually see that there is paint on the main dorsal plates. Continuing down for the dorsal plates, the tail is slightly in favor of the MonsterArts. However, for the overall tail, the MonsterArts completely gets it. The legs are nice and chunky on the NECA, but the Bandai nailed the design and captured the feet correctly. NECA's is still good overall, but it's not quite there. As you can see, in some ways the NECA is very close to the suit, but not all the way. In terms of looks and accuracy, Bandai lands a right hook for a solid knockdown. The first point in the fight goes to the MonsterArts.
Round 2.
Articulation. We're going to break this down section by section to see who lands the uppercut here. So, here we go. In the head area, here's the range of movement for both figures, starting with the SH MonsterArts. As you can see, the 5 points on the MonsterArts allows for a more fluid range of movement, but the joints do pop off easily. This is unfortunate. However, there is a point of articulation for the tongue. The NECA has 3 points of articulation, which is a bit limited, but it's still effective enough to pose him in interesting ways. You can get him to look up, down, left, right, and cock his head from side to side. The arms. The MonsterArts has plenty of joints to allow for nice fluid movement, but consistent issues with the wrist popping off, if you're a little too heavy-handed, are apparent. However, the posability is great. The NECA has fewer joints, but can still achieve solid poses. Oh, and it has some finger hinges. Despite this, the MonsterArts does have a greater range of movement. The torso articulation is completely in favor of the MonsterArts with an ab crunch and waist joint, despite being able to pop it off if you push the joints too much. We once again have a nice range of movement here. The NECA has an ab crunch, but there are many who have had frozen joints. For me, the NECA isn't even in the running here when we only have, realistically speaking, 1 point of articulation. The legs on the MonsterArts house more points of articulation, allowing for a greater range of movement, which again results in a no contest for the SH MonsterArts. The NECA has very basic movement, as you can see, which really amounts to the NECA being able to stand and maybe get him into a running pose. That's about it. Then we have the tail, where the MonsterArts is all ball joints, allowing it to be curved or completely straight. However, once more, we have a tail tip that likes to pop off. and the NECA is a few ball joints with a wire tail. Very simple movement there. We have two drawbacks here which hinder both figures. The MonsterArts can pop apart very easily, but the NECA can only pull off basic poses. Considering you can still get the MonsterArts in some really expressive poses at the end of the day, and if a joint pops off, you can most certainly pop it back on, the MonsterArts gets the point, but just barely. The NECA still stands. It's not a knockdown here, folks.
Round 3.
Rice. Here's where we have a big difference. The MonsterArts clocks in at a whopping $83 or thereabouts at MSRP, while the NECA is $20. While you can get the MonsterArts for $75 or so, the clear winner here with a crippling gut punch is the NECA.
Round 4.
Size. They're roughly the same size here. They both work well on the shelf, and they can most certainly go toe-to-toe with other 6-inch scale kaiju. Who wins? It's a draw.
Final bell.
When it's all said and done, the SH MonsterArts takes the fight with 2 of the 4 rounds. In terms of actual figure, the MonsterArts is the better choice. If you want to only have one of these 2 brutes, that's the one to go with. But don't be fooled. Though it's a solid second place, the NECA figure still stands on the market, and we as consumers still win with having a choice between one or the other. However, like I said, if you can only have one, the SH MonsterArts is the one to go with. So, what do you think of the results of the figure fight? Any cheap shots missed? Bad calls? Did the ref miss anything? Make your comments down below and be sure to vote in the poll. Thanks for sticking around, and if you want to pick them up, check the description for links to both figures. Once you check that out, check out the individual reviews of the figures, which should be on the screen now, to get the full rundown on each of them individually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.